In this video, we're going to learn about Flask routes. So first off, we'll do a quick review of CS50ID. We'll review a little bit about Flask. We'll review a little bit about HTML, and we'll introduce Flask routes leading into Activity 5. So quick review of CS50ID. Again, CS50ID is at ide.cs50.io. Sign in with your GitHub account. To create a new file, click on the circle, click on New File, and this is where you're going to write your Python code, and you'll also write your HTML code here too. It's your text editor. The red circle means that you haven't saved your file yet, so just make sure that you always save your file before you run it. And to save your file, you can either go through the menu system, or you can click on Control S on a PC or Command S on a Mac. And remember to give your file a file name. All right, on the right-hand side, you want to open up a terminal. So click on the green circle and open up New Terminal. To execute a Python file, you would just give the command python space hello.py, and the output would be in your terminal. The $ is used to indicate the command line, and anything to the right of the command line, anything to the right of the $ is the command. So again, if you were just running a regular Python file, you would just type in the command python space file name, but we're working with Flask, so to run your Flask application, type in Flask run. All right, now just a reminder to download your file. Click on the file, fourth option down is download. All right, so happy coding. And this brings us to our quick Flask review. Again, Flask is a micro framework that allows us to build programs without having to write code, repeated code over and over again. The official website is right over there if you want to read through their official documentation. And Flask uses the MVC model view controller model. And this is what a minimal Flask application looks like. We're going to be expanding upon that in this video. And note to yourself that, again, the default Flask application name is application.py. Again, to run your Flask application in terminal, you would execute the command flask run. If all goes well, it'll produce a URL, which you would click on and would open up in a new tab, and hopefully you'll get a happy message. So another review of HTML here. So again, typical HTML, this is kind of like a bare bones HTML file that would say hello, and specifically each line, the first line clarifies that the document is an HTML document, and specifically an HTML5 document. After that, you'll notice that it's code organized as a series of nested elements. So each element begins and ends with a tag that indicates what type the element is, and anything between those tags is the contents of the element. Now, in general, opening tags will take on the form of the less than tag name greater than, and the closing tags will take the form of the less than and then a slash, the tag name, and the greater than sign. So inside of our HTML elements, there are two other major elements. They are head and body. The head element contains information about the web page, and you can think of the structure of HTML, of an HTML document, as kind of like a tree-like hierarchy. So the HTML is at the root, because you always start off with the HTML, and it kind of branches off after that into the head and body tags, etc. So some common tags that you'll see in every HTML document: you've got HTML, you've got head, you've got title, you've got body. Headings are sizes of headings. In other words, they're like larger font sizes, and they range from H1 to H6. Other common HTML tags are the P tag, which stands for paragraph, BR, which stands for break, and bullet is LI. So to create a link to other web pages in HTML, you would use the A tag, And the A tag takes on the attribute called href, and that specifies what web page you are linking to. So for example, if you wanted to link to a web page like Google, you would create an href tag that would look something like this, and when you clicked on it, it would take the user to www.google.com. So again, just to kind of recap the major tags that I mentioned before, the title tag, which again takes an open and close title, is the title of your web page, and body is where the body of the content of your web page reside. So, when you look at our starter code, you'll want to replace the code over here. And now this leads into our introduction to Flask and routes. So Flask routes are how you're going to create some new web pages. And so if you think about it, modern web applications use meaningful URLs to help users. Users are more likely to like a page and come back to it if it's a URL that they can remember and visit directly. So in Flask, we use something called the route decorator to bind a function, a Python function, to a URL. So it kind of looks like this. So you might have noticed before with our index or our root web page, we had a route with that @app.route/ that indicates our root or our, kind of like our home page. Then we had our def index, and that's where we originally put in return hello world, and then after that we started using templates. So today we're going to learn more about that, and that over there is something called a decorator. Now decorators are very powerful and useful tools in Python because it allows programmers to modify the behavior of a function or class. Decorators allow us to wrap another function in order to extend the behavior of a wrap function without permanently modifying it. And because each view in Flask is a function, decorators can be used to inject additional functionality to one or more functions. Python allows you to use decorators in a simple way with the @ symbol, sometimes called the Py syntax. Alright, so again, now we're going to create a new route, and we're going to call it hello. All right, and I'm going to walk you through how to do that. So that'll lead into our activity here. So first off, let's go into our CS50 IDE, and in our terminal, I'm going to make everything a little bigger, and we'll type in make directory. Actually, I need to remember to delete my existing directory. All right, we're going to do make directory activity 5. Okay, that's the first thing we're going to do. Then we're going to cd into activity 5. After that, we're going to make a directory called templates again. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our advancedpython.net website, which I create a link over there for you to help get you started. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab the index.html file here. You can very easily do that by clicking on the copy link right over here. So we're going to copy that. And then we're going to paste this into our empty file here. And then we're going to go ahead and file save as. We're going to go into activity 5. We're going to go into templates. Actually, before we do that, let me type in index.html here before I tap on that. I'm going to tap on templates, and then I'm going to click on save. All right, so the next thing I want you to do is create another file. We're going to create another file here, and then we're going to go back to advancedpython.net. Go to hello.html, which is right over here. We're going to copy that, and we're going to paste this into our empty file. Again, what I want you to do is do file, save as, go into activity 5, go into templates, make sure you save your file as hello.html. Okay. And lastly, what I want you to do is I want you to open another file, grab our application.py file, and go ahead and save that, name it application.py, go into Activity 5, just tap on it and then click on Save. Oops, mine didn't actually paste that time. Notice the code is a little bit different than before. It's because I incorporated our new hello route, which uses the template hello.html. Now, the next thing I want you to do is run Flask run here. It'll open up a page. We'll click on Open. And if all goes well, you'll get a web page that says Welcome to Activity 5. Now, to test out our new route, which you'll notice over here is hyperlink to hello. And when we click on the link, it actually brings us to a new page. And notice over here at the top, the URL has now changed to hello. All right, so all went well. Now in this activity, what I want you to do is create some additional routes, your choice on what other web pages you want to create on your website. I give some examples of create a web page dedicated to your favorite movies. Also make sure to create a web page to get feedback from your users. So you can find your trailers on YouTube, get some feedback. Again, a source for images, incorporate images that you like. Perhaps you can make a web page about hobbies. Could be Wikicommons. And again, to use Wikicommons and grab an image off of it, click over here and use this file on the web, and you'll get the code that will enable you to embed it onto your website. Again, some HTML tutorial resources can be found here with some basics, some elements, some headings, and paragraph examples of how to use them. Can all be found over there. And again, I just kind of recap here about how you can embed content on YouTube. Just click on Share, Embed, and then copy that HTML code, and then paste that into your HTML template files. All right, and that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this activity.